morning. So if you're a movie fan, you might know the last week we celebrated National Silent Movie Day. But if you missed it, don't worry, everybody. You can still dive into the rich history of the movies by visiting some of the real locations all around Los Angeles that have appeared in the movies. Chris G got the inside story of how one alley in Hollywood was the site of so much creativity. Chris.
Well, you might not know it, but this alley was used as a location for some of Hollywood's most iconic silent movies, and now it's getting some recognition. I'm Christopher G. in Hollywood. I'll tell you why this alley is so important to the development of early Hollywood and who's spearheading efforts to make it a landmark.
What you would do, you would take a nickel.
This is how the movie started, with devices like the mutoscope, which allowed you, for a nickel, to hand crank your way through a succession of photographs, creating the illusion of life. It's also the way audiences first saw silent film stars like Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton, and Harold Lloyd. Here at the Hollywood Heritage Museum, film historian and archivist Stam Taffel says, although many still know the names of Chaplin, Keaton, and Lloyd, most don't have a real sense of just how popular and influential they were.
So if I told it to you in sports terms, Chaplin, Keaton, and Lloyd in their day were what Kobe, Shaquille are in this generation.
Stan is a board member of the museum, which is housed in the Cecil B. DeMille barn, where manager Brian Judd gives visitors a window into a bygone era that seems to fade a little more each year.
Welcome to what is the oldest film studio in Hollywood. Built as a barn in 1901. This is Vine Street.
Now a multi-billion-dollar-a-year industry, the Hollywood film business began in simple places like the DeMille barn, and Stan and Brian believe it's important to remember this history.
As you heard Stan say, you can't know the present unless you know the past.
And now the Hollywood Heritage Museum and its partners are giving us another window into our cinematic past. Harold Lloyd, Buster Keaton, and Charlie Chaplin, well, they have their names immortalized here in this unassuming alleyway at 1640 Cahuenga Boulevard, where 24 silent-era films were shot. And what better day to unveil the commemorative plaque than on National Silent Movie Day?
We are celebrating a place that up until a few years ago, no one even knew about. It was an alley, and that's all it was. We now know that so far, 24 films from the silent era were filmed here. Take a look over here. You see this pole? That's it right there.
Through the efforts of film historian John Bankston, who discovered the spot, and the folks at the Hollywood Heritage Museum, the Chaplin Keaton Lloyd Alley is now officially recognized as a key site in film history. Members of the three families came out to represent, including Kira Chaplin, who recalls,
we used to have a poster of the kids at home, and until I was 5, I used to think that that was a picture of me and my grandfather. And it was the biggest lesson that I get from being a chaplain, and I feel so lucky for having his love for humankind. And I think he really passed that along to my dad, and my dad's passed it along to me, and he can do so much more with love than with hate.
Hollywood has many titans, but Stan says Chaplin, Keaton, and Lloyd are rightfully credited with helping to make Hollywood the movie capital of the world, whether they were filming in a barn or an alleyway like this.
We're going to celebrate it. We're going to dedicate it. From now on, when people walk by this alley, as hundreds of millions of people have for 100 years, they're going to know that magic was made here.
From these humble beginnings to the stuff of Hollywood legend, the Chaplin Keaton Lloyd Alley now stands as a reminder of the lasting magic of the movies.